Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 509. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am the dashingest of dashing hosts, Chris, and with me is the equally dashingest of dashingest hosts, Andy. Sandman, how you doing, brother? Great to have you on.
I'm okay. I'm okay. It was a hard one today. We'll get over it. We'll get through it. Maybe.
It was definitely a hard one. It was... I was making runners right after, immediately after the fourth down misconversion on our own. What was it, 30 in the fourth quarter? There, I said, time to make some drinks. So I'm flushed with the warmth of some liquor. I feel a little better. I try to watch these games sober so that and then I'll start drinking as we do the post game because I want to be. Today I couldn't make
it. No one blames you for that.
Sorry. All right, we got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the game today. What went right, what went wrong, and there's a little bit of both. Maybe one side is tilted, but there's a little bit of both. We're going to cover Coach Campbell's post-game presser. Usually there's a Jared Goff one as well. We'll see who else they put on. They had Mr. Laporta last week, so we'll cover those as well. We'll do a roundtable. If you get cut off by a presser, sorry. We like you very, very much, but the players are cool too. And we'll take your calls and we'll do a therapy session. We'll all get through it. This is therapy for you as much as it is for us. Got a whole lot to talk about. Sandman, are you ready to go, my friend?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
Relax. So... the Detroit Lions played a football game, if you will, today in Chicago. And
did
they were there. It was, so I said it early, and I still believe this. I don't know who to blame because everyone's to blame.
Yeah.
No, there were some bright points along the way, and there were executions where things, but schematically, executionally, I'll make that word up. I don't care. They couldn't. They just didn't all day. It was fail. And you can point like, Goff dropped the ball on the snap. Yeah. Was it Glasgow? Was it him? They just didn't execute. I mean, so many points. Jerry, he got burnt. Yeah, Cam got burnt. There just happened to be a penalty in that play too. No one on the field was able to execute. Amon-Ra today, what in the heck? Like hands of stone. Never seen anything. I have seen things like this before. Who am I kidding? But this year, this seemed to stand out as exceptionally bad. The only kind of, and I'll pause here. I'm doing the monologuing that Riz is so known for, but the only thing that I will take away from this, so this is something that I think is a little bit undersold by Lions fans. The NFC North is a pretty damn good division.
Yep. It has been for a long time.
Yep. You look at the NFC South and you're like, they all suck, and they have for a long time. But the NFC North, as bad as the Bears are when they play in the division really strong. Same with the Vikings, same with the Packers.
It's hard, man. It's hard. Yeah, like you talked about it. It's it's like a top-down system failure in games like this. And to be completely honest, it's kind of been like this for the last 4-5 weeks.
Yeah.
Where we've eked out some, like good teams win ball, which is what we did against the Saints. But, the first Bears game, this Bears game, the Packers game, they just didn't look prepared. Like the game plans that they came out of the tunnel with were not good enough to win them the game.
Yep.
And, we saw that today with Ben Johnson, where the Bears pass defense, obviously they got 3 interceptions last time we played them, but you have to throw on this group. The running game was working for us, but when they did throw the ball, they were all short passes. They were, screens. They were, they were weird. Like I don't know how many outs to Sam Laporta got thrown today that just were, not going to work. That's not what this Lions offense is. It's not what it has been. It's it's a little concerning to be honest, but I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit later, but I'm not sure that we're not regressing back to where maybe the Lions should have been.
Yeah. Just if anything happens with lighting or whatever, I mean, it's all in battery backup, but I'm hearing it's like a hurricane outside. the rain is pounding the window. So since the end of the game to now, it's the storm has poured in here. So, fingers crossed things go well. We'll get Campbell on. I want to say, and we'll just start off because we want to get it out of the way, and I know everyone's kind of thinking about it. This isn't why we lost. This is why there was some extra points on the board, but that non-intentional grounding and then the play after how like, okay, hold on, we want to make an announcement while the play clock is running, and then okay, now go, like everything was out of sync. They should have completely stopped everything, made the announcement, and then said, okay, run, right, and go. But no, that whole swing was a disaster. I don't know what was up with this crew. I did some look on the penalties holding year over year, and there's more digging to do because there's something funny about this. But that intentional grounding, the fact that they make the announcement that, oh, well, he was in the motion. Dude, how many times is the emotion affected when intentional grounding has been called? I mean, that's like part of it.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, I never like to blame refs for why the Lions lose games.
That's not why they lost, for sure.
But man, there was a couple doozies today. I had a post on Twitter about a very blatant hold on Bugs where he literally got 360 spun.
Yep.
On another big conversion for the Bears.
Yep.
And like that happens, whatever. But that was a pretty bad one. That was pretty you generally don't see those real blatant ones not get called. And then the non-intentional grounding is literally insane. The NFL has been calling intentional groundings stricter than ever this year. Mm-hmm. We've seen intentional groundings where guys ran wrong routes and the quarterback put it into the wrong spot and they called it.
Yep.
Which, to me, rightfully so, should be intentional grounding. Even if the guy runs the wrong route, he wasn't there. That's the rule.
Right.
But this was literally insane. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm just looking at my screen, waiting for the flag light to pop up. And then it doesn't. And then the Bears score on the next play. And that's peak NFL. That is so peak. It's peak NFL, peak Lions is what that is.
Yeah. And the fact that there was like, they interrupted the flow of the count, like, because I saw them line up the lines. I'm like, okay, they're in better shape than I am because they're ready to play. I'd be fucking screaming. Like, I'd be going apoplectic there. And then I'm like, okay, and then the ref stopped it and it was like, oh no, they've recovered. Hold on. Let me add a little chaos. This is, I couldn't tell today if so I've gotten to the point with the Lions where I don't get angry anymore, right? I get depressed and beat down, and it's like, oh man, not again. Today I was angry, and it started early. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know if I started playing I started playing Call of Duty again. I don't know which one makes me angrier, Call of Duty or this one. And it's the same thing though. Call of Duty and gaming in general, they like to add chaos because where there's chaos, there's an inability to perceive whether it was random, like a dice roll, or you just got outplayed, or what. The more they can obfuscate, the more they can manipulate, right? And I really, and oh god, the gaming awards and the whole engagement bullshit from fucking Activision, that's crazy. I mean, I don't even want to go into that because it's not Lions, but this whole thing about the refs, like creating chaos so that they can, obfuscate so you can manipulate. I really hate to say this. Again, this is not why the Detroit Lions lost today, but you can absolutely change a game just by creating chaos. And I think the fourth down play from Campbell, he's a guy, it's a weakness. Let's exploit the weakness. He's susceptible to chaos. He bit and went on that fourth down. That's a thing he likes to do. I think anybody who was watching said, "Oh, Dan, don't no, oh no," at that point, and he still did it. If we'd have gotten a first down there, people would have been, "Oh my God, he's a hero," right? But that, I don't even know if I would have. in the end, I mean, I probably would have said, "Holy shit, you're the man, Dan," because you knew it and you believed it and you went for it. But that's like the guy that bet red 35 and won. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this a little bit earlier today, but it feels like he gets flustered when the game starts to slip away, and he will make game-breaking calls. You know, that decision to go for it on 4th down with 14 minutes left is an interesting one at best. I think, you don't get it, which they didn't, and you are giving up 3, possibly 7.
Mm-hmm.
At a minimum, you're giving up 3. And there's still so much time left. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Those 2 plays that we just talked about, him going for it on 4th, and also the Bears scoring directly after that intentional grounding. That's a 10-point swing. Now this is a 5-point game, and the rest of it looks very different.
Yeah.
That's the way that all NFL games go. They're all like this for the most part. There's a reason why, you could have the world beater team against the crap team, and somehow it's still a 7-point game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But man, it's hard watching him get flustered like that. I feel like the challenge call was also a flustered thing. I don't think there was enough time for anybody to call down and say throw the flag.
Yep.
I think he just saw Cole Kmet run back to the line, say we need to snap this, and then he threw the flag.
Yep.
Which you can fault him or you can't, but at the end of the day,
he's been
that
burnt the
timeout
other way.
Could have been important.
He's been burnt the other way. And on that, I don't really get too frustrated by that, because that's a coin flip at that point. He doesn't have the call from upstairs. They haven't seen it. They don't know, right?
Yep.
The Bears are pushing you. Go ahead, make the call, right? And now you have to make you have to make a call, and it's on you. If you don't make the call, and you're 50-50. You just never know. And he did. Wasn't like, we've ended so many games with timeouts, it didn't matter, right? Oh, we got Dan at the podium. Let's get over here.
They played an undisciplined game over there, and we knew that was a good team. That's a talented team. They're playing good football, and we knew we had to play well, and we did not play well enough. So, that's credit to them. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. I thought we played hard. I thought we did some really good things at times, but honestly, it was the discipline. I mean, the penalties cost us today, and that's really the story of the game. That's the story of the game. Questions?
We keep talking about this, play your best football in December. We are winning games. They're tough. They're close.
Yeah.
You're getting, out-executed in a lot of areas. What is your level of concern?
And look, had we won that game, I would have told you, man, we played good ball. But since we lost that game by 2 scores, obviously it's not good, So the discipline, that's the biggest thing. Man, early in that game, Fields running around, he got us again a couple of times, and then we settled in on defense. And I thought we played pretty good. Second half, we got put in some tough spots. But all in all, we just couldn't score enough points either.
Offensively, 61 yards in the second half. I know you got to watch the film, but just what were you guys unable to do offensively?
Yeah, penalties killed us. Penalty and a turnover. We get there and we have a penalty that sets us back 1st and 15. And look, you get in this type of game with that type of win, and you don't want to be living in these passing downs, these 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs, and that's kind of where we end up having to function, because we weren't good enough on some of our first down efficiency. That's where we've been good, and so that's tough, man. It's asking a lot. And look, I thought we protected well today. I did. I thought we protected. It's the nature of that type of weather. If you're trying to, you got a passing game like ours, you're trying to play with timing and rhythm. It's not the easiest thing to do. But honestly, it was. I just go back to that. We can go through all these numbers you want. It was the discipline part of it. We turn a ball over down there in the red zone off a snap. I mean, the minute we make some hay, then we have a huge penalty that costs us, and it's too hard to overcome in this environment.
Why do you think that sloppiness has showed up of late? Because it wasn't an issue early on, some of the penalties or turnovers.
I guess it was our day. We had double the penalties they had, so.
And specifically, your thoughts on the one that wasn't called, I guess, the intentional grounding.
I don't want to answer that. I don't. I have no answer to that.
Yeah.
So when you
That's
talk
a good
about
answer.
What can you do, or is it players, is it coaching staff, to help with that discipline aspect? What areas can you help them improve?
Yeah, you know what? I need to push it a little bit more. I'm just going to need to be a little more irritable, which I can do that.
Dan, what's the frustration level when I think it was like 12:28 left in the fourth quarter, 4th and 1, you guys had a heavy package out there.
Mm-hmm.
4th and 1, couldn't even get that yard. I know that you prided yourself on toughness being kind of the calling card of this team. How disappointing is it when you guys can't get that 1 yard anymore like you were early on in the season?
Yeah, look, well, of course it's frustrating, you know, with where we were at, but that was, and look, we knew they were going to give us something every once in a while that coming off a bye week, and that was an unscouted look, you know, they gave us a curveball, and we didn't handle it well, and they got us, you know, so yeah, it does hurt when you're not able to convert on that short yardage play, you know.
You don't want to. I'm sorry if you were still going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying. I didn't mean to. Look, I'm not upset with you. I'm just frustrated about some of that stuff, but it's ultimately we didn't do enough today.
You know, I know you don't want to comment on the grounding itself, but that sequence, right? You had him in 3rd and 11, whatever happened on that play, and then the 4th down, Hutchinson jumps offside. They hit you on the 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like maybe they were trying to get an offsides penalty. What's the coaching point there? What do you think?
Coaching point is discipline.
Same thing.
It's discipline. I mean, across the board, and that's why I bring that up. Man, we've been a disciplined team, and we just weren't enough today, and they were, and ultimately we played their game. You know, we never really got to play our game. Into the second quarter, we did a little bit, and so when you keep them, they're allowed to do what they want to do. As a team, then, you know, that serves them well. You know, that's how they need to be able to play, and they're very good at it, and we never took them out of it.
When you mention discipline, beyond the penalties, other areas such as maintaining rush integrity, rushing the quarterback, secondary play, is it all over, or are you committing on penalties?
It's all over. Yeah, penalties are certainly a huge part of that, but it's all over.
We saw some personnel changes, some expected, some unexpected today defensively. You'd mentioned Jerem was going to get some more linebacker play. We also saw rotation at the cornerback position.
Yeah.
Saw Melifano in there. You know, I guess early impressions of how that worked and how much maybe more changes are coming to get this thing back on track.
Yeah, I need to see the tape. I felt like there was some good by all those guys that played, but you know, I won't know. I won't know enough until I watch everything for myself. But look, our guys know. We're always looking, man. Guys are always competing here, you know. And it's the same thing, though. I'm not in panic mode. I'm not losing confidence. Man, we're good. We got 4 to go here, and all we got to do is get our discipline back and continue to fight like we fight. And look, it wasn't our day today, man. We didn't handle it, and you know, when you do that to yourself against a good team, that's what happens. And this is a good team, so we'll clean it up and move on. That's what competitors do. That's what good teams do.
And despite the discipline and focus issues, you still start the third quarter up 3.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really get going. I don't remember that there was a penalty on that first 3 and out. Is there something about these third quarters where there's kind of an issue, especially offensively?
Yeah, we just, you know, we hadn't been able to get going. You know, and we've changed. We've done a lot of different things. We've changed what we're running, how we're going to run it, what we're doing, who we're trying to get the ball to. You know, and we fizzled out there. But we've always been able to get it going by late third or early fourth. You know, we've traditionally been a pretty good first quarter, fourth quarter team, and you know, and I would much rather be a good fourth quarter team than a third quarter team, but that didn't even show up today. So, yeah, I mean, look, we certainly got to be better. That would have helped us today. You know, you're up 3, third quarter, you got the ball, you got a chance to really put a lot of pressure on them. We thought we were going to be able to do that, and we didn't do it. You know, we couldn't do it.
You said not panic, of course, but do you see some troubling trends of the last few games? You guys haven't been as sharp as you were the first half of the season.
I don't feel like there's things going on that are abnormal. You know, like, man,
That's pretty normal. That's
we are in week, what is this? 14. We're in week 14. So at this point, everything's out of the bag. For the most part, you kind of got a pretty good idea of what you like to do, what you want to do. You've gone through really 3 cycles now of self-scout or scouting an opponent. Here's what they look like first 4 weeks, next 4 weeks, and then here we are and by then you've got a pretty good idea. And we all play that. We do that against our opponents like they do it against us. And so there's not going to be anything easy about I never assume we're going to go into these games. It's like, well, yeah, we're going to win and we're going to win by 30. Like, that's not the league. The point is we got to win these games. You just win, baby. Just win. And we didn't do enough to win today. And the idea was to have one more point than this opponent today, and we couldn't do that. So, look, I know that everybody's trying to grasp straws like, what are we? What is this? I'm not. I know exactly what we are. We're a team that'll fight, and we got to do things right. Because any little mistake, man, it throws us off now. That's just the type of team we are. And but we got plenty here. We got plenty, and we do things right. We're pretty damn good. So we'll get it cleaned up, man. We'll move on.
So you think you're the same team as you were early in the season? Just
he gets it, Andy.
Yeah,
he understands.
I do.
What is the balance between not panicking and needing to tap into that angrier version or more irritable version of yourself?
No, I'm not going to change who I am. I just sometimes I need to apply pressure in different areas, and that's fine. I can do that. But hey, this is a league, man. We're still in December. That's what this is all about. And it's like I said, we got a pretty resilient team here, and we'll bounce back, man. It was a loss, and it stings. Nobody feels worse about it than those guys do, and the coaches. I mean, we all feel it. And this is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, but the guys we got, it only motivates you to want to move on and get a win. That's what it does. So, all right.
Just more on the Fields touchdown. What's that?
There you go. All right.
He's self-aware, man. He knows.
So
whether he can do anything about it or not.
It is. So he didn't stand there and say, sit up straight. He didn't stand there and say, I called the best play ever and got us up 21 against the Saints last week. He didn't do any of that dumb shit. Like, he recognizes and people ask a question and then he'll say, like, he's like, we get hurt when we make mistakes. We have a hard time recovering. Like, he knows the personality of the team. And he admits it. He says things that we kind of know, and he validates them, right? Like, he knows. Like, he speaks the truth, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible insight that Dan gave us, because we knew that this team is a finesse team on offense, and when they're in rhythm, man, they are good. When they're out of rhythm, not so good. Not so good. And that could explain part of the third quarter stuff, is that, they cool down a little bit, and, they should probably just stay out there and do a, small scrimmage or something during halftime every week. Just to stay warm. I don't know. It's nice that he sees it and, whatever, but other teams see it too.
But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because look, other teams see, they make mistakes. They have a hard time recovering. That's been a Lions trait for a long time, right? And that, and not seizing upon opportunity. Oh, wow, Philadelphia lost. So did we, right? Every time those sorts of things happen. But by the same token, that happens to every team that doesn't win the Super Bowl, right? The New England Patriots won every game all season long. But they didn't win the last one, right? And to a 9-7 Giants team. So fine. I like that he sees, though, that the team, and that was it. That whole sequence of that grounding play, because he was out of it. He was angry. He was apoplectic doing his thing. He needed AG to do his thing and control the defense. the weird sequence on we're going to make an announcement in the middle and then we're going to keep the play clock and then we're going to still go and not reset. That was all really weird. Everybody was just out of sorts, right? When you're the offense and you're kind of things are in your favor, everything is now tilted in your favor in a situation like that. Everything is tilted in your favor. And that's bad news for a team like the Lions. And they have this year, earlier in the season, they've been able to recover in bad situations, bad officiating, whatever. They've come back. We know that's the one thing we know is if you're a Lions team and really any NFL team, if you're going to really do it and make real noise and run the table or go deep in the playoffs, you have to overcome bad officiating. Because if there's one thread that is absolutely true in the NFL, officials suck. It's just the officiating is shit, garbage, chaos. It's just a roll of the dice. And that's why, like, the whole, like, for a long time it got me so mad. And it's like, now you can't blame the officials. They suck. They're a dice roll every time. You have to be able to beat them, and you have to be able to recover from your mistakes. And those two things are going to happen in every single game. Shitty calls, and you're going to make crappy mistakes, and you have to be able to recover, because if you can't, you're not going to go anywhere. Doesn't matter.
Yep. I mean, it's just frustrating to watch this team that has looked so good at times all of a sudden look so inept across the board.
Yeah.
Across the board. And he said, and Dan Campbell always says this after a loss. He says, we thought our game plan coming in was good, but it wasn't. So, like, maybe the people that think it's good, we need to start thinking about those people a little bit. I'm not against. I was getting tweets today about firing Ben Johnson. I'm not even remotely close to that, but at some point, yeah. I mean, Dan talked about the 3 self-scoutings that should have been done by this point in the season, and yeah. I mean, you're getting worse. It's
Can we? This is a good one from Antarctica. Somehow we need Hutch to draw a holding call. Seriously, how many holding calls have been called against Hutch this year? I don't think there's been a single one.
Yeah, well, the way he rushes doesn't help anything. I think that someone needs to get in Hutch's ear this offseason and get him, coached up the way that the Packers offensive linemen used to get coached up about how to properly hold. He needs to learn how to properly get a holding call.
Yeah.
Because he's not the fastest guy, so he's not beating guys immediately where they're grabbing him, and he's not a Brian Burns, he's not a Von Miller. But yeah, when he spins and they grab him inside, and
they hug him so he can't even turn around and face the quarterback. His sleeves ripped because every fucking down when he was playing on the left side of the line, the guard or the tackle would get his arms up under Hutch's arms and grab. Every time it was under his shoulders and under the back of his arm and grab, and the back of his sleeve is ripped. You watch it over and over, and eventually the shirt ripped. It was like halfway through or almost the end of the first quarter that the shirt ripped from the constant up under grab. It's like, holy crap, like somebody somewhere has to see this, right? No, okay,
yeah, fine. No, apparently not.
Oh man, okay. So let's see. We've got that going on. We'll keep looking for another player. Let's open up the calls. I guess we're past open announcements. Let's open up the calls. Join us live, 248-782-8384, 248-782-8384. We'll take your calls. You may be interrupted by one more post-game press conference. It's okay. Get your words in, and then when they start talking, you got to stop. And we'll get you stopped. Don't worry. But give us a call, 248-782-8384. We'll take your calls, and we'll have you live on the show talking about what in the holy hell happened to the Detroit Lions today in Chicago. Are you ready for the move to Arlington Heights?
I think it'll be a little bit nicer up there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Never been a big fan of where Soldier Field's at, but maybe the Lions will get better officiating and less penalties up in Arlington Heights.
Maybe
juju
so.
of shoulder field.
Shoulder field. Hey, caller, what's your name? What do you got for us today at Shoulder Field?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi. I'm on?
You are.
Oh, you are.
Hey, what's up? This is Beezer. I've definitely had enough to drink.
Good for you. I appreciate you.
So I really just want to say we shouldn't be panicking. We're still on top of the division. We played really shitty football today. We played really shitty football recently, but we're on top of the division. We're close. We're there. They just got to clean up. They just got to stop making these mistakes. Like, we go up against this rushing quarterback, and so many times we get back there, they get hands on them, and he gets out.
There's something to be said for that. Not only are we the top of the division, we would absolutely own the AFC or the NFC South. So we're not even on top of the worst division, right? I mean, we're number 3. That's fine, which is the 3rd best team in the NFC for now.
Yep.
Just got to get some wins to keep that, right? I mean, it stinks going 2-2. 2-2 is the best in our division right now, though. Just so everyone knows, no team has 3 wins in the division. We definitely would have been at the next tier had we done that. This was a crucial game in that respect. The Lions really would have set themselves up well to have beaten the Bears and gone up 3-1 in the division instead of 2-2. Everything could have smoothed out for the rest of the year, because the worst they would have been is 3-3 at that point. And the Packers are creeping now. A lot of people are talking about Love as if. Calm down, folks. Calm down. Just Justin Fields
relax,
had a couple good
as
games.
they say.
Yeah. Justin Fields just had a couple good games too. He's not a superstar. He doesn't have the characters around him to be one. So, but Beezer, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. And think about it. If we get into the playoffs, who are we going to meet in that first game that we actually have to be afraid of?
My biggest concern is that it's going to be a divisional opponent, because those games are always
that would suck.
Yeah, those games are always tough, and as Lions fans, we've been the spoilers tons of times where all of a sudden we beat the Vikings and we had 0 wins before that, 0-14 or whatever it was, and those games are always just tougher. But outside of that,
end of last
I think
season,
that this team is
Packers,
this team is still winning. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a winning team.
The Packers, the Packers, the end of last season is the best example of us being the spoilers, I think, because we were on that last high. All they had to do was beat the lowly Lions at home at Lambeau to go to the playoffs. It was all good, easy peasy for them. And we ruined their lives. And then it was that point that our lives were ruined. Also. Oh God.
Cool. But yeah, anyway, that's my bit. God bless. Thank you guys for all the work you do with St. Jude. Go Lions. Fuck the Pack. Fuck everyone else.
God damn right. Thank you, brother. This is what Thanks for the call. This is why I love not being on the radio, because we can say fuck. Hey, caller, what's your name? How you feeling today? Caller?
Hello?
Caller?
Hello?
Talk to me, baby.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm getting kind of a feedback here,
Oh, sorry.
or like a delay, but all right, I'm going to try to get through this. But I'm higher than Fox's punt right now. So take everything what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I'm curious, and I think Ash is listening in, so he'll call me out if I'm being. And I appreciate the directness of it. I feel like the defense did everything they needed to for us to win today, and it was kind of really in the offense's hand. This might be an obvious statement, but it's seeing how the defense has been lately, to actually see some work. Obviously, there's no turnovers, which I think contributed, but honestly, I think the defense did enough for where the offense could have won the game today. And then just the other thing I wanted to just point out of how nice it was for a commentator to talk about how beautiful this pass was by a quarterback. I'm just so used to hearing Aaron Rodgers' ball, Joe Buck's chin as you talk about what missed pass was. So it's nice to hear that on our side. But if you're still listening, I'm still a little high, man. But I appreciate it. Barely can hear you guys, but go Lions, and love to hear guys' thoughts, and I'll jump off.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. That's interesting.
I think the defense did do enough. You take away that crazy thing, and you take away the Dan Campbell fourth down that gave them 3 free points. That's 18 points.
Yeah,
that's winning defensive football.
This is the thing where narratives take hold and people just seize onto it, and this is like the lazy, easy thing to do, right? Aaron Glenn, fire him, fire Aaron Glenn. That's been the narrative for 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now, right? Aaron Glenn and the defense did fine today. They did fine, especially with the pressure they were put under by the offense. Today was a day that was bad by everybody. It's easy to, and people want to point at Goff, or they want to point at Jerry, or they want to point at, Hutch can't get a holding penalty, or they want to point at the O-line, or they want to point, whatever. This was a team failure today. This was like top to bottom coaching. The scheme was shit. The first quarter, we got our shit pushed in. There's no other way to put it. This team got blown out on both sides of the ball. Third quarter, same thing. Let's get Goff on here really quick. Just jammed up. Ugh.
Jared, what can you, point
it's your fault, Jared.
In the second half,
says Justin Rogers.
To put some points up those final 2 quarters.
Yeah, they did a great job on defense. A lot better job than we did on offense. Simply execution and beating ourselves quite a bit there throughout the game. And you got to tip your cap to them in some ways. They did a really good job on defense, and we didn't hold up our end at all.
Was there anything they're doing coming out of the bye that caught you guys by surprise?
A couple things, but nothing that should have derailed us as much as it may have. And it's a good defense. It's well coached, and but we have a good offense, and we're well coached, and we need to play a whole lot better than that.
What happened on the snap, the fumble snap?
Yeah, just a poor exchange. It's on me.
The pass catchers, just a lot of weird numbers, particularly Sam and Amon-Ra, who've been so reliable for you. 5 catches on, I think, 14 targets, 40 yards. Were they doing anything in particular to take those guys away from you, or was the separation not there? What was going on with those relationships today?
Again, I think they did a good job on defense, and we didn't quite connect like we'd like to on some of those. And I have to go back and look, but I thought we had some guys where we'd like to be able to make some plays. I'd like to be able to make some better throws on some of these, and unfortunately we just didn't connect. It happens, and it sucks, and we need to be better.
The frustrating part, the penalties, put yourself in first and 15, third and 8. Those are things that you guys can't control outside of what they were doing. Was that frustrating for the second half in particular?
Extremely frustrating, yeah. I don't know how many penalties we had, but very uncharacteristic of us, yeah. We've been, I think, towards the top of the league and pre-snap stuff and penalties in general. And I think, today was not indicative of who we are or who we plan to be. And, it's discipline stuff, unfortunately, and learn from it and get better.
Earlier this week, you talked about playing with a level of urgency. When we talked to Dan, he came every day. He said you guys like discipline. I guess these last 3-4 games coming out of the season, what's the level you got, the confidence that you guys can clean it up and get it right? And just that discipline aspect as well from your perspective.
Yeah, a ton of confidence that we're going to clean it up. A little adversity isn't the worst thing in the world at this point of the year, and this is sure it. I don't think by any means I'm not sitting here saying that's a bad team because their record. That's a good team, and they played really well and they beat us. But it's a little reality check. Going okay, look in the mirror, fix it, and we got some time here to in the next 4 games. So it starts with Denver, but to get it fixed and to get geared up for our ultimate goals. And it's a good gut punch that typically does our guys well.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jared.
All right, there you go, Jared Goff. Very quiet, very short. Andy, you gonna take a minute? That's okay. I don't know that I have your audio.
No, I've muted myself so that no one could hear me swearing at my computer as I sneezed and everything took a dump. It was my
That's
computer.
My fear. Every time I sneeze, that's my fear. Oh no! Will I lose control?
My computer went the way of the lions today. That's the way it was.
All right, let's get a caller in here to save the day. Hey, caller, how you doing? I'm sure you're sober, right?
Of course, I'm sober, Chris. Hey, this is Jeff in Grand Rapids.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
First thing I want to say, two things I want to say before I start is sorry that Tina and I missed the training camp party. With our current acquisition at work, I've spent way too much time at work.
No, I feel you, brother. It's okay. It's unfortunate, but work does that to us. And
my second thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, my second thing is, Andy, you're still a tasty bitch.
Thank you.
Anyway, okay, so I sent a super chat earlier, and the last 9 games have not been some, but I think that a lot of Lions fans are getting worked up that we've had failures on both sides of the ball, and things aren't great, but we are still at this point 9-4. Take a deep breath and realize that, most of the problems we're having is we can't let the SOL in our brains go away. And as it sits right now, does it look like we're going to win? Are we going to, does it look like we're going to win a playoff game? Probably not. But you know what? Things are fluid. Things change. Let the SOL go, for Christ's sakes, and like and subscribe, for God's sakes. Okay. Do I want to see, more out of Ben Johnson not taking quarters off of doing anything creative? And when he does something creative, it's just like essentially too cute. Sure. Do I want to see AG go back to where we were at in week 5 as far as the aggressiveness of the defense? Well, we kind of got that today. And so, okay, so we're developing, things are working out. Do we want to see things change? Yes, we do. But let the SOL go and just fucking roll with it, man. We're 9-4.
Yep.
When's the last time we were 9-4?
Come on, just chill out. Let the season play out. Just calm down. God, no, I'm not going to go pussy-faced bag of shit, Aaron Rodgers, and say relax, but just calm down.
CALM, right?
All right. Yeah. All right. All I got, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Jeff. Give my best.
I agree. I agree with Jeff. We're at the point where we still are in control of our own destiny. We don't have to wait for other teams to lose for us to get into the playoffs. We just need to win the games in front of us.
Yep.
And, I don't remember the last time that happened. 2011 was the last time we waltzed into the playoff kind of. And I don't even know if we waltzed into the playoffs then.
Yeah.
I think
if we go 500 for the rest of the year, we waltz into the playoffs, really.
Yeah, if we get to 11 wins, I think we waltz in.
Yeah.
It's at this point, I think what a lot of fans are upset about is the possibility of maybe not having a home playoff game, which, to be honest, whatever. I think, I saw it in chat a little bit ago. I am of the mind that this team is not where they are, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like they're playing better football than I think their talent is. I think we're a year early. I think that we're playing above, we're punching above our weight class right now, slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's hard for me to be too upset. Make the playoffs and I'm happy. It doesn't need to be a home playoff game, even though that would be pretty sweet.
There you go. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much do you drink? Should you drink? Should we all stop drinking?
Hey, it's Michelle.
Michelle, how you doing?
Good.
It's been since what?
I want to know, do you think, what is it going to take for us to be more consistent? Like, how can we show up at a game one week and we're looking all hot, and the next week we're looking like garbage? Like, What do we got to do to bridge that gap?
More talent, I think, is the Lions have talent, but they just don't have any elite talent. I don't like. You could say Hutch is almost there, but he went. I think they talked about it during the game, 400 some snaps without a sack. Like that's kind of crazy. Like the Lions just need something. And I think that they were hoping that Jamison Williams was going to step up this year and really be that threat, that game-changing guy, and he hasn't been that yet. And on defense, we have Hutch, and Brian Branch has kind of had flashes, and Alex Anzalone has kind of had flashes, but none of those guys will win you a game. It's like and Dan Campbell kind of alluded to it. I think things kind of need to go the way the Lions need them to go for things to be smooth. They're a tempo offense. Things need to be on time. Things need to be in place. I think that it's hard to be super consistent in the league when you need that many things to go your favor.
Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like all the pieces haven't just come together yet. I mean, I think they have a lot of potential. And I mean, obviously, like injuries don't help, City days don't help, but I think they could get there for sure.
Yeah, no, I think
and theoretically, we'll get more people back. James Houston still has to come back. There's been rumblings of CJ coming back. I mean, those are pieces that do make a difference.
And that's the big hope for this team, I think, is the returning players, the injury returns. Houston, like I especially talking to Dr. Liao, I think from the right side is where he's going to live. I don't think his ankle's going to be able to, especially maybe later as playoffs go on, the rehab and work can get him to build up the strength. But I wouldn't do anything with him but keep him on the right side and let him work that side. But that's okay, because then you can put Hutch a little bit inside on a stunt or outside and work him a little bit, and you got some action going on the defensive side there. It's all about pressure for this defense, and that's why I think AG has looked so bad, is because they haven't been able to get the pressure they need, and they've been shy that one guy. And God, I want to say, I'm going to stick with it here. The defense has been the problem for this team because everything has been on the shoulders of the offense. Even early in this game, the defense couldn't stop them. They marched down the field 2 possessions in a row. Yes, the offense didn't do anything in the first possession. Yeah, that happened. Second quarter, they found themselves and they started grinding. That happens, right? No offense, unless you're playing the Lions, is able to score every single possession. But the defense has had trouble getting stops. Has had trouble stopping. How many times we had Fields in our hands today and he escaped? You know what I mean? Or the nifty little throws that he was able to get off. Those are maddening. God, I wish I want a quarterback that could do that so bad.
You're like covered in butter.
It was crazy. So yeah, I think the consistency will come with a drop in injuries or a rise in depth. Those are really the two things. We're doing some pretty awesome things schematically. I think just from a talent perspective, the team isn't there. It was just over a week and a year, 2 years and a week ago that we got our first win in Minnesota. I think Andy will remember that game.
Sure do.
There's pictures and video. I might have said something to Minnesota fans there that just in the moment. But we'd lost like 9 games in a row. We're 2 years in, having turned around an NFL roster from garbage to where we are now. And Andy you said something, Andy, before the show, and I think you alluded to it a little during the show, that the team is still ahead of schedule, but people's expectations surged because how far they surged ahead of schedule early in the year. Like people's beliefs got a little bit stretched beyond maybe where the team is. I'm still landing on this space that this team needs to win a playoff game this year. And I know, I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch goal. They have to make the playoffs. There's no question they have to make it. But if they can walk away with a win in the playoffs this year, that would make this 110% a successful season. I would have to retrospectively look back. In the moment, I think we're Super Bowl. We could do it. We could take the number one seed. Today makes it really, really hard to even think about the number one seed in the NFC anymore. That's probably a wash. But a playoff win for this team is definitely ahead of schedule and definitely is a successful season and checks all the boxes for the growth and the trajectory of where we are. That makes next year a hell of a lot harder. But that's where I want it to be. I want us to have those hard sets of boxes that we have to check because that means you're a damn good team.
Yep. And a lot of people, were complaining that we didn't make any moves this free agency period, not any, real big ones. And I think that they probably didn't because, they know that they're ahead of schedule. I think that this offseason will be telling.
Yeah.
I think this offseason, that's when we'll know where the brass thinks this team is.
Yeah. Yep. Oh God, I've never seen a mouthful of dicks like Brandon Katz. I didn't know that many could fit in one person's mouth. That's crazy. Okay. Sorry, just looking at the chat.
If we can beat the Packers, I would consider that a plus.
Yes. Oh my God. If we meet the Packers in the playoffs and beat them, oh, Michelle.
Yes, fuck the Packers.
Oh,
say that because I live with them all around me. So yes.
Oh my God. Michelle, is there anyone we shouldn't be listening to?
What?
Is there anybody we shouldn't be listening to? Is there anybody out there saying things we shouldn't be listening to?
Who cares? Fuck them.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
Yeah, you just stay positive and, we'll be on that track.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get another call in here really quick. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink so far?
Hey, Chris, it's Reed from Lakeland again. And Kelly, the wife, and I drank too much on Friday, so we're not drinking today.
Oh, okay. I'll work on it for you. I'm working on the last of my rum runner here, but I'm here to support the team.
Maybe we should just come over to you and get those rum runners and Jesus.
I have to. Maybe I'm gonna have to make a tub of them and have a party. That's really what I have to do. Sandman.
We would love to come to a party hosted by Mr. and Mrs. DLP.
Oh man, what do you got for us, Ray?
Well, unfortunately, we're calling on a very sad day. I'm sure you're getting the rain out there right now and the lightning, and it's such a sad day. I couldn't even cut out of that game early to go play some golf, unfortunately. Got new golf shoes and everything, and that's a bummer. But, obviously there's a ton of chatter going on right now with the Lions, and it's always catastrophic when we lose, especially when we lose divisions. And, I, for one, am bummed, but I think that in doing my best to keep my head up and think about the future, I'm really excited for this offseason. The more I think about the free agents available and the prospect of Brad Holmes getting to improve a good team. And I think that's something that definitely same old Lions fans aren't used to, right? So there's a transition there where we're learning to improve good. And I would love for many years of just being baseline good with the opportunity to get to great. And that kind of brings on my next question that I wanted to have you guys kind of answer is, are we at a point where we should start really paying attention to maybe a Hendon Hooker versus Jared Goff competition in training camp, right? Because we're in a very, I would say, rare opportunity where we have a good starting level quarterback, which is already better than most of the league, but we have an opportunity to get someone who maybe has more capabilities in terms of a little more mobility, a little more arm strength. He can maybe take advantage of those throws that Goff was not able to do today and very clearly not able to do. So what are your guys' thoughts on that going forward?
Go ahead, Andy. I'm going to let you go first.
It's hard. I think, this coaching staff is never going to just rest on a player being the best guy out there. If Hutchinson comes in next year and has a horrific training camp, he's not going to start. That's what this coaching staff has kind of proven. And we've seen that when they start playing undrafted guys that have outplayed the guys that were drafted. They just kind of do that. So I think if Hendon comes in and is a world beater during practice, during preseason, I think it will be hard for the Lions to ignore that. But at the same time, I think if all things are the same, if Hendon Hooker is graded 85 and Jared Goff's an 85, you just got to go with Goff. And, there's some things that, we're not sure about. Would it be nice to have a slightly more mobile quarterback? Somebody who has a larger propensity to throw downfield, more so than Jared Goff? Yeah, maybe. But also, we don't know. There's all those little intangibles that Jared Goff brings that I think don't get brought up enough, like his checks into run game and his, why is it that every team he's ever been on has had a fantastic rushing attack? Is it maybe a little bit him? Maybe. It's hard to say, but I have faith in this staff that they're going to put the best people out there. I guess I'd leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that last week, Jared Goff stood in a pocket around a collapsing offensive line and looked like a freaking superhero. And everybody seems to have forgotten that.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody seems to have just cast that aside because 10 minutes ago, oh my God, Jared Goff did. And I think there's something that people really, really miss as far as kind of longitudinal data, right? It's very much freak out in the moment and forget about the trajectory and the longer term information. I like Hendon Hooker a lot. Andy, you met him with us. We were at Senior Bowl. Rest our freaking interviews. Spoke with him. He's such a good cat. I am so excited for what he can be. I'm in a weird spot where next year, especially with Ben Johnson and the creative chemistry that he does, what about a Taysom kind of, the Taysom and Drew Brees thing, right? I think Drew Brees played with Taysom. Or Derek Carr, whatever. But do a Hooker Goff kind of mix. Kind of put Hendon in, get him a couple of plays because he's a completely different quarterback that gives you a completely different look that can scramble some eggs. I don't like people talk about, you got to give a running back the ball because then he gets his groove and then he gets. I'm not seeing that with Montgomery. I'm not seeing that with Gibbs. They can just go out there and they can do their thing. They don't need 15 carries in order to be able to start finding their groove to be able to make some plays, right? No, they can just run the ball when they run the ball, when they get their call. I'm really this is always the two quarterback system has really intrigued me. And with Hooker, it gives you a real interesting twist because you have two completely different quarterbacks who both have great arms, who both can deliver the ball, but who both play completely different styles of football, but that are complementary enough where you don't know what the fuck you're looking at if you're a defense. I'm not saying that's the future. I just think it's really interesting. And if anything, right? If you remember the days, and I'm going to be old here, but Priest Holmes, especially, you had one running back. You had a single running back, and it had to be Priest Holmes that ran the league. End of story. Today, running backs don't fucking matter. Get them in the 5th round. Get them somewhere. They're cheap. They're easy. They're free. They've been completely devalued in the course of a decade. I'm not saying it's going to happen with quarterbacks. I'm just saying, why couldn't it? And I think it's an interesting thought exercise and to go through. So I like Hendon a lot. I really think he's a great quarterback. And I think maybe part of this kind of whole concept that I've been talking about here, it's tortured by the idea that I like him and Goff very much so. for different reasons and the different capabilities they bring. Because I think either one of them could potentially bring a lot of success in Detroit. Does that make sense? It's a non-answer to an answer, or an answer to I don't know.
It's a very like what's the word? It's a very future rocking, visionary type answer where you're bringing some things that are so game changing to potentially the overall game of football. But I just think, I think to a lot of the great quarterbacks who come in, and a lot of them have come in situations where they were behind good, solid starting level quarterbacks, got the opportunity to learn, and eventually they got that opportunity to kind of springboard. I'm not saying that Hendon Hooker is necessarily that solid quarterback, but you think to Tom Brady being behind Bledsoe, you think back to Rodgers being behind Favre, you think to, Mahomes being behind Alex Smith. There's too many parallels of great quarterbacks with great intangibles and measurables that come in, get the opportunity to learn, and maybe not have their confidence shattered right out the gate, and then they kind of get that starting opportunity, and then you kind of run away with it, and that's maybe one of the greatest luxuries that any great team can ever get. And so I really would love for the Lions to basically set themselves up to a scenario like this where, maybe we're looking at the future of the Lions through Hendon Hooker, and honestly, I would feel really bad for Goff more than anything.
Yeah.
But I guess who knows? And it's one of those things where we're going to look forward to the off season, and I can't wait for one to see what camp looks like and the competitions that go down, and let Brad Holmes, Chef Holmes cook. And that's what I want to see the most.
Yeah. Yep. Appreciate it. All right, my man, we're going to let you go. Rock and roll. Have a good time.
Absolutely.
All right, man. We'll see you.
You got it. Love you.
All right. Love you too, man. You feeling it, Andy?
It's nice to be loved.
Oh my God, this guy. Oh man. No one has more dicks in their mouth than Brandon Katz. You've heard it here, not the first time. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, it's on Pornhub. It's on Google, really. Anywhere you look. It's a mouthful of cocks, Brandon Katz. Love the chat. Oh, man. Michelle Cox, I think Goff is as good as his O-line. That's interesting.
That's true.
That's
true.
But, so yes, check, right? Yes, and put my little fucking improv hat on. Yes, and it's true for most quarterbacks. I don't know a good quarterback behind a bad line.
I mean, I think people get it skewed a little bit because as of late, it seems like the best quarterbacks in the league are the ones that don't necessarily need their offensive line to be performing at top level. You have, Lamar Jackson, you have, Mahomes. I mean, Rodgers for a long time was kind of like that, where like almost flushing them out of the pocket is a detriment to your defense. Like you don't want them to pop out, like that. It's bad. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would say that Goff is a little extra stationary, compared to the quarterbacks of today. Not to sound like a 1950s World's Fair guy, but I think.
Can you do the voice?
I haven't practiced my transatlantic in a while, so. But no, I mean, yeah, he is. He's kind of a statue. There was a couple sacks today where he stopped his drop, and then he was sacked in that exact spot. Yeah. He didn't move. It was like, here they are, and he just kind of holds the ball and knows what's about to happen. And he's gotten out a couple of times. Like, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, the end of the Saints game, like what a crazy play by him. But that's not who he is by any stretch of the imagination. And I do think that, you see it with the Lions every week, people that can run, your Josh Allens, and they just make it so much harder on defenses to plan for you because it's unplanned stuff that gets you. Same thing with Justin Fields.
What's the Bills' record right now?
Yeah. About to be 7-6, maybe.
Okay. There you go. Woo. Almost as good. it's so and then they didn't play the same teams at the same times, and it's the NFL. You never have enough data to really, and that's part of the chaos, right? But you never have enough data to make a true evaluation, and that's why the Super Bowl is the ultimate accountable. Who's the winner, right? Any week to week, you got to be the best team, and every week there's going to be a team that should have been the best, and they didn't. That's why gambling exists and why they make so much money.
Oh, so much money.
All right, let's see. Give us a call, 248-782-8384, 248-782-8384. Jump on the show with us. We'll talk about this Lions team. Let's talk a little bit, Andy. We lost to the Bears, and it's a division loss. We're not the best team in the NFL right now. Tell me, let's go this way. Tell me about how this team, what it's done right, and why we should be happy to be Lions fans right now in 2023.
I think we should be happy because we're ahead of schedule, honestly. And we can talk about this till we're blue in the face about divisional games, but divisional games are always hard. It doesn't matter what the other team's record coming in is. That's a rough game. And honestly, the way that the Bears are kind of built, they're almost built to beat us.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, like their coverage, their linebackers are fantastic. There's, kind of like how we were built to beat the Packers for a couple years there, where it just seemed like the Packers had no answer for us. And it was like they would look like a great, fantastic team versus other people. And then they would come in with Aaron Rodgers and not do anything. It's hard to say, but I think we can look forward to what's next, right? Whether that's the rest of the season or once the season ends next year, I think that we're still building what we are. We're not trying to maintain a good team. We're still building one. So it's it's a different effect than we've had the last couple years. That's for sure.
I think to your point that the Bears are built to beat us, the additive point to that is the Lions are a really good team. Teams kind of prep differently when they play those kind of teams. It's like, what was it? When we beat Arizona, what was it, 2 years ago? And they were the team. They were the team. And to beat them was such a big deal. Such a big deal. To beat the Lions right now is a really big deal for a team, especially if it's a division win. Division wins are always that way. It's just, you just scrap your claw, you fight, and the division is the division. But to beat, we're not the ones that are there to humiliate the other team like we did the Packers the end of last year to keep them out of the playoffs. We went there as a division game, the underdog, by everybody's account. We were not going to have a chance in that game. And we didn't even get respect after the game. It was Aaron Rodgers walking out of the stadium, and it was, if anyone remembers, we walked in and we blasted them. Like Brandon Katz's mouth full of cocks. We blasted them. It was crazy. And we walked out of there, and it was a passing the torch to where we became the team that other people want to beat. And we ran it early this year. We walked our way to the top. And now people say, if we beat the Lions, that's our little spark. That's proof in what we're building. That's proof in our players. That's proof in what we have. That's, that validates what we're doing. Everybody plans for a team like us. The idea of looking past a team is not a big deal, but the idea of beating that big team, knocking the big guy off the block is what it's all about. Woo.
That's true.
Zach Myers, I think the perception of the Bears was skewed by their terrible start to the year on and off the field. They are better than what they showed earlier. I think that's true too. I think the NFC North is a really, really good division, and it sucks. I would love to be in the AFC South. I mean, that's 6 wins, right? 6 wins, and you got to flip the 50% of the others, and you're automatically in the playoffs with a number 2 seed.
Yeah, and I would say that the Bears, and this year in particular, actually, in the NFL, has been an interesting one where we've had a bunch of teams with really good defenses. Just, you don't win football games with defense. Maybe you win a championship with defense, but you don't win regular season games with it. The Jets holding people. New England held 3 teams in a row to 10 points or less and didn't win a game. Like that's, I think that's kind of where the Bears were, is that their offense was struggling. Obviously, Fields went down. Bajent won 2 of their games for him, but I agree with you. I don't think that the Bears are nearly as bad as we think.
Yeah.
Or thought.
Hey, caller, what's your name? How you feeling today?
I'm not feeling too good. My name is Tez Kalamazoo, but just calling in. I usually listen to your show because I work third shift on the weekend, so I'm on my way into work now.
All right.
But I was just, watching the games, I just think, we got so much talent offensively for us to score 13 points. You put any top 5 quarterback in our offense, just how explosive. You got Jamison Williams, who barely get touches, Jahmyr Gibbs, who barely get touches. Today it was Demo who didn't get touches back in Chicago, which I was confused. But just when you got that type of offense around Goff, it just, at times, I'm clueless to how we can't come out in the third quarter and score points.
Yeah, that the third quarter is the third quarter is our curse. I don't know what in the hell is going on, especially today after we righted the ship in the second quarter. You go in, you get your orange slices, and you come out, and what the fuck happened? What did you do? Did you guys forget how to run? Oh man, I don't know what happened there. That is the most astounding circumstance. Halftime, fuck them. Don't let them go in. Leave them on the field. Make them do push-ups in the sideline in between the second and third quarter. I don't know, but the halftime is the worst thing that ever happened to this team this year.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of times,
go ahead.
A lot of times when I'm watching, it's almost like I kind of question myself because I got to be up late. I'm like, do I just take a nap and set an alarm for the fourth quarter? Because by this point, it's not even a trend for a couple weeks. It's been since week 1 almost. We come out and we blank in the third quarter, and then here we come fighting in the fourth quarter in games.
Dude, I work first shift, and I want to take a nap. Go ahead, Andy. You had something to say, brother.
Oh yeah, no, when you have a scheme like the Lions have offensively, it's almost the scheme that scores points more so than individual players. There's a reason why a 4th round pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown, looks so good. There's a reason why Sam Laporta. All these guys are talented. I'm not saying that, but the scheme itself is kind of ran the way that it is. And I think unless they open it up more, I don't know what the real problem is. The third quarter stuff is insane. It's been brought up multiple times. Ben Johnson has said, we are very aware of it and we're trying to do things. Today, Dan Campbell said, yeah, we've done a bunch of different stuff and it just doesn't seem to matter. So I don't know what that is. Maybe a curse. Maybe I don't know. It's something that's impacting this team, and I'm with you that Goff is frustrating because he doesn't always elevate the team, and I would say that today he didn't really elevate anybody, and it was talked about in the presser as well that I think it was 5 catches on 14 attempts for Laporta and St. Brown. St. Brown had 1 catch. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know how that even happens. it's
I thought
pretty
we
wild.
came out in the first half and ran the ball pretty efficiently. It wasn't like they just stomped us in the first half. I thought last time we played them, they kind of stomped us in the first half. But I also feel like a lot last year what helped our offense go was our play action passing, even to start the year. I just feel like the play action, our play pass is not as good as it was in the past. So I don't know if they need to do a little bit better with the design of that. I don't know what it is, but it is kind of frustrating to watch. When we got a talented offense and we only put up 13 points. Chicago defense is good, don't get me wrong, but Still, we put up 27 on them last time. Fucking 30 on them last time.
We should have beat this Chicago team, no question about it. I mean, they're good, but we should have beat them. The Lions are the better team, and there's something wrong that we didn't beat them.
All right, you can see that in Dan Campbell's press conference.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll let somebody else get on here. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, have a good night at work, man.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
All right, you too. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Love my third shifters, man. Those guys keep shit moving. I don't care what anyone says. Third shift is the shift. Amon-Ra today. My man couldn't hold on to a ball, but we didn't get it to him till it was everything like cannon shots that he had to catch. I don't know. So the last 2 weeks with Amon-Ra haven't been right. Something's been out of sync. There's been a gear that's been out of.
Yeah, I was thinking that to myself too, actually, is that, like he's not seeing the amount of targets that he should see. So I don't know if, and I'll have to go back and rewatch, but I don't know if he's just not getting open enough for Goff to throw him the football, if they're kind of scheming away from him because they know that teams are focusing on him. I don't know. The two drops he had, if you even want to call them drops, were, the one he got smoked in the back, and then the other one was low, but he catches those normally. It almost feels like a detriment to him that he's so good at catching those kind of balls that when he doesn't, we're like, you suck. But in reality, like most players don't catch those balls. So but it is concerning the way that the offense looked today. The game plan, like the running attack looked fine. I think the running attack was perfectly on par with where it needed to be. But, they talked about we had one 20-yard play to Josh Reynolds late in the game. They weren't looking downfield at all. They weren't putting any pressure on the Bears to back up, to play deeper, to open up the under stuff, the middle stuff. There was,
and I think that, so there's a couple, Montez Sweat, that signing, the Bears, I laughed at him for signing him for the amount that they traded and paid for him, but they have so much capital to the first two picks, the first round or whatever. They have everything sitting there in their hands. It was nothing for them to get him. And he was a hell of an ad. I mean, God, he was a hell of an ad. It was in retrospect, in the scheme of where they were and what they had, really, really good move. And then the pressure they generated, which is what we're not doing. You can't throw the ball long. You don't have the time with the ball. You can't get those mid-tier routes, and it messes up our offense. So that makes the run game all you have, and then our run game was middling today. But all you need is 3 downs where you don't get 10 yards, and that's it, right? And that's the end of your game. Goff, something about his ball he's throwing. There has not been a pretty spiral out of his hand in 146 days. I don't know. I made that number up. But I have not seen, it's all wild, crazy. I don't know what's going on. It's different. Something happened.
He was wearing gloves today. That's weird.
But even before that, like last week, and when he wasn't wearing gloves, he's not. His balls are. I'm too.
Somebody
catch
clips
myself
that.
Being too. He throws. It's just not what you want to see coming up. Let's put it that way. And then I gotta say, J-Mo was awesome in that run last week. And when he hit the Jets and he started flying, he flew. He was shot out of a cannon, man, like a rail gun launch. You know what I mean? Just boom. But every long ball, including the one he caught in Tampa, anything that's over the shoulder, he can't locate it. He's over both shoulders trying to find it. And I don't know why. He can't find a ball. But there's something about the fact that throwing long balls to J-Mo is not, it's a low percentage play generally. It's not what you got to do with him. That connection doesn't seem to be there. I think crossers to J-Mo is the way to fly. Build the confidence, get him, and then he's moving and he's rolling and he's going, right? Put some sticks and some longer and some posts out there for Amon-Ra. I don't know. I don't understand it because the J-Mo thing isn't working. He's got a lot of talent. He's got all the things, but something isn't right. And those long balls is just his head's on a swivel. Blah 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 blah. Can't locate it. It's just it's. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't even.
I
know.
mean, it happened again today with the ball that was tossed his way when Jared like had a dude right in his face and it was underthrown. But yeah, if JMO locates that ball, he had plenty of time to slow down, stop, draw pass interference, try to go get that ball. That ball was in his area. Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that, what that is. We keep talking about all the problems that Jamison Williams has had that he never seemed to have before. He didn't have the drop season in college. He didn't have ball location problems in college.
Yeah.
Like, where? I don't know. I don't know where all this is coming from, but no, I agree. I think they need to get him more involved in it. The fact that they're not getting him more crossers and not getting him more stuff either speaks that Goff doesn't fully trust him or, I don't know. But
the underthrown ball is the bread and butter of the fast receiver because it's PI all day.
Yep.
All day. But when you're doing this, you're not getting PI. You're like, you just don't know. Like you look like a lost puppy out there. And that's, man, there's something, there's something crazy. There's something crazy.
Yeah.
All right. That's that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't have anything else to say.
All right. All right. Well, we lost to the Bears. We split with them this year. We're 2-2 in the division. We have one team in the division left to play. The Minnesota Vikings. They don't have a quarterback. They're an interesting team. It should be fun.
We could play them 3 times in 4 weeks.
We could.
I can't believe the NFL did that.
I can. They knew it. Look at the script. It's perfect. Right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, Jerry was tore up today. I don't know why no one says Cam Sutton was tore up because he was tore up too. If you look across the PFF grades on our defense, our secondary is tore up. But they're tore up because our line isn't getting pressure and sacks. It's all these things are.
Yeah, and on the touchdown that Jared gave up, it's nobody seemed ready. The safety wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. I think that everybody but Hutch knew that they were just going to try to draw him off sides there, and we're kind of slow rolling that. So when Hutch went a little early, I think got everybody a little off.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happens, and like Chris, like you said, I think the biggest need for this team going into next offseason is they have to get guys that can get pressure. They have to.
Yep.
They need a pass rushing defensive tackle. They really need anybody. They brought Bruce Irvin in. He looked good last week. He got injured or whatever happened. But they need it. They need it so bad. Aaron Glenn's defense does not function without a pass rush.
Yep.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. So if we think about, if I were to sit here right now and talk about the draft next year, I could pick more players than we have picks that we need.
Yeah, honestly, we need 2 defensive tackles. We need another defensive end. We need
wide receiver.
Offensive
line.
Who really need offensive line.
And so say your first 4 picks, like what are your top 4 positions of need?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like generally speaking, the Lions' offensive line hasn't been as beat up as it has been this year. Like obviously we lost Vitae last year early, but to have 2 guys down is so hard. It's so hard, especially the way the Lions play football.
Yep.
Other teams can get away with subpar O-line play because of the way that their offense functions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not the Lions. They need them.
Yep.
They need them. They're the linchpin.
Don Burr, we know they support Jerry on their show, but man, that guy needs to be the 3rd DB. Cool, Don. Who you put number 2? You got a roster. Work with it. What do you got? This is the I didn't say that, right? There's nobody. No. There's nobody.
Yeah, Mosley was supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
I think, and
Exactly.
rotate in and out. It's bad. Yeah, the Lions need cornerback help. They need safety help, you could argue.
Yeah.
It's, Tracy Walker hasn't looked that good. He got basically benched today.
So let me ask you this now. If we're going to start talking, and we will, because we're getting into the draft and we'll start getting into Senior Bowl, which is where it really hits. It's so good, man. It's so juicy when we get there. The positions of need for this team, right? And you see so many. Do you now start saying, well, shit, maybe the scheme isn't that bad and it is truly a talent issue? That's a conversation yet to be had, right? That's one that's teed up and one we probably need to start having here in the next couple of weeks as this season finds its denouement. But as we get there, that's something we have to start talking about, because you have this many positions of need, this many picks available, and is it a scheme? Is it the talent? And how do you fill those holes to get to either meet your scheme or change your scheme to meet the talent you have? That's the triangulation that's so fun in the offseason. Yep. All right.
Never feel clean after the Bears beat us.
I thought we were going to win a Super Bowl. Damn it. Doesn't mean we can't.
There's still time. There's still time, Chris.
9-7. Those Giants did it, darn it.
Did it, darn it.
Did it, darn it. All right, with that, let's call it one of those things. Remember, don't forget us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, patreon.com. Little new thing, wrinkle for folks who haven't heard it before. The ads, folks on the audio side have said, if there a way that I can get away from the ads, I got to props and love to the folks that understand. Like, we pay everybody who does stuff here in one way or another. Those ads are there to help pay for the people doing the work. You can get an ad-free feed on Patreon. We're going to do it at $10 a month on Patreon soon, next week or two. So if you're really out on those ads, do the $10 a month. You get there, you get the Slack, you get ad-free feeds and all the audio stuff and all that. So you can roll that. That's coming, like I said, very, very shortly. But $5 a month gets you access to the Slack, the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. 413 smart people, and it used to be 4 dumb ones. One just got kicked today. We're down to 3 dumb ones. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast. The best place to be pants-free and hanging out with us. Also, Sandman 7773, the only place you're going to find slow lights, which are the very best way to find out if your defensive line or your offensive line is up to snuff. I've never learned more about line play than I did watching slow lights from Sandman. I actually go back and watch them before we go to Senior Bowl, just to kind of refresh what I'm looking at and get ready for when we sit there in the pit and watch what's going on, Andy. It's you do a service to folks. It's good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Give us a call on Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line at 248-782-8384, 248-RUB-YOU-FUG. Also, be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can bounce into your ears automatically. And thank you for tuning in to the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, we'll see you next time on this thing. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we're Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. That's a show. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.